Hello and welcome to our special broadcast. I'm Archana Solanki. Here are the headlines we're tracking this evening. AI disruption fears rattle tech and IT stocks worldwide. Anthropic releases a new plugin to automate specialized tasks and workflows for companies. Nifty IT index plunges over 6% to mark the worst fall in 6 years. Sensex and Nifty end at a 3-week high after posting modest gains. The rupee weakens against the dollar after a bumper rally yesterday.
दोनों पक्ष व्यापार समझौते से संबंधित आवश्यक तकनीकी प्रक्रियाओं को पूरा करने और कागजी कार्रवाई को अंतिम रूप देने के लिए मिलकर काम करेंगे.
Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal briefs Parliament on the India-US trade deal, says details of the agreement will be announced soon, adds that India was successful in safeguarding the interests of agriculture and dairy sectors. However, US Trade Representative Jamieson Greer says tariffs on a vast array of American agricultural goods will go to zero. External Affairs Minister meets his American counterpart Marco Rubio in Washington days after Trump and Modi agreed on a long-awaited trade deal, discuss formalizing bilateral cooperation on critical minerals. The two leaders emphasized the importance of working together to unlock new economic opportunities. Reliance Chairman Mukesh Ambani says the world is taking note of India's rise, adds the startup industry excites him the most and he can see 100 Reliance industries emerging from India. This is the era of India, says BlackRock Chairman Larry Fink, expects India to record high growth for over 2 decades, calls India a leader in digitization and warns countries like the US could be falling behind. Embrace technology, don't run away from it, says Mukesh Ambani as he bets big on artificial intelligence. BlackRock Chairman Larry Fink says there is no AI bubble and the real risk is not investing in artificial intelligence. The Reserve Bank's Monetary Policy Committee kicks off its 3-day meeting. CNBC-TV18 Citizens MPC votes unanimously for status quo policy. Majority of the members expect at least one repo rate cut by the RBI in 2026. The Supreme Court pulls up CBI Enforcement Directorate for delay in launching a probe against Anil Ambani for allegedly siphoning off over 40,000 crore rupees. Court orders the ED to form a special investigation team. CBI confirms a lookout notice has been issued to prevent Anil Ambani from fleeing the country. Mamata Banerjee becomes the first sitting chief minister to make a personal appearance in a courtroom to argue her plea, argues in the Supreme Court that the SIR process is not for inclusion but for deletion, alleges that the Election Commission failed to comply with court's directions on the logical discrepancy list. Supreme Court issues a notice to the EC. NVIDIA's Jensen Huang plays down reports of tensions between the chip maker and ChatGPT creator OpenAI. Huang says everything is on track and NVIDIA will invest in the upcoming round of fundraising by OpenAI. That's a CNBC exclusive. Home Ministry formally revokes President's rule in Manipur after a year, clears the way for BJP's Yumnam Khemchand Singh to take oath as the Chief Minister in the ethnic strife-hit state. The 62-year-old leader was elected as the Legislative Party leader by the BJP yesterday. All right, the big story we are tracking this evening. Anthropic's new AI automation tool has sent shockwaves to IT stocks across the globe. Tech stocks on Wall Street lost close to $285 billion in a single session. The AI giant released a new plugin that would automate specialized tasks and workflows for companies. Indian IT stocks got battered in trade with fears of the new AI tool causing possible structural disruption. The Nifty IT index was also down nearly 77% and making it its worst day since March 2020. Reema Tendulkar joins us now with the details. Reema, what does this mean for the IT industry now?
Well, the fear is of disintermediation. Just to take a step back and understand what happened. So Anthropic has released a Claude co-work agent. It's agentic AI, and they've done it for 11 segments. One of them is legal. And basically, this is not sold as a separate standalone AI tool. It's built directly into the platform enterprises already. It's built into the platforms that enterprises already use today. So the fear is of disintermediation. Now, there are many companies which sit between an LLM and an enterprise. They use the power, the infrastructure, the ability of the LLM to understand the enterprise's workflows, the data, the unstructured, structured data, and come up with analytics. Right? There are companies which do that. So Claude AI, the agentic AI, has done it for 11 sectors, and one of them, the legal one, has actually spooked a lot of them because it can go through compliance, it can do documentation reviews, it can come out with legal briefs. So the fear is that what if going forward you don't need that that integration service provider, that intermediary, and even if you don't replace the intermediary, the fear is that can it cause deflationary pressure, pressurize the revenue pool. And even listed IT companies do earn certain amount by implementing customization, integration, and maintaining enterprise software. So yesterday there was a sell-off across the board. Companies which provide software tools to legal companies, there are data analytics companies which sold off, even SaaS companies like ServiceNow, Salesforce sold off. Here in India you are seeing a brutal sell-off, and it comes at a time when the sentiment surrounding the technology space has also been very weak. IT companies have gone through a period of deflation, and now the fear is that there will be increased deflation. But is the sell-off overdone? What is the other side of the story? Listen in to the opinion Shireen got when she spoke to IT majors surrounding the impact of AI on their operating business model when she chatted with them at Davos.
How much of this new AI opportunity is likely to cannibalize on the existing maintenance revenue?
So where we've built some estimates which show there is some compression of revenue in different services because many of the AI agents improve productivity. But equally, we see a larger pool which is growth opportunities. And we will showcase that to show that net we see much more growth than compression.
Many of the IT companies in India have not built their own models, but we should not lose fact that the value actually comes in understanding the business context of our customers, ensuring the data for the customer data works for them.
So there's going to be no change. You're not going to go the LLM way.
I'm not saying there won't be change, but don't underestimate what we are doing. We somehow seem to underestimate the pressure society, saying, you guys are not doing models, so your legacy. No. What we actually do is making a real for our customers. Model is one component, but making the models work and work for the customer is the most important. That's where the value is.
All right, time now for a mega CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Two global business tycoons, Reliance CMD Mukesh Ambani and BlackRock chairman Larry Fink, came together on one platform to discuss the art of investing for a new era. In a 46-minute conversation with Shireen Bhan, the two industry stalwarts spoke on a broad range of topics, from India's growth potential to the potential of artificial intelligence. Ambani said that the world is taking note of India's rise, said that the startup industry excites him the most. He also told Shireen Bhan he can see 100 Reliance industries emerging from India. Fink was equally optimistic about the India story. He said the next 20 to 25 years are India's era. Both the leaders bet big on AI and stress that one must embrace tech and not run away from it.
What excites me the most is the startup industry. When I interact with startups and we see young 28, 30-year-olds starting up companies, and I can clearly see, right, 100 new Reliances in terms of where and the aspiration, the confidence that they have. And finally, it is the confidence that you see. Fortunately, we now operate across the length and breadth of India.
Let me come back to you on the investing in India's growth opportunity and this new era that we're speaking about, and the role of making strategic choices today, which will require patient capital. And I want to understand from your perspective what it will take actually to build patiently with patient capital over the next 2 decades.
Well, I think that the Indian opportunity, as we stand at about $4.5 trillion of GDP in a $110 trillion world. Right? I see us outgrowing the world and finding our right place. So I am one of those believers who think that this 4.5 in a 20-30 year period, right, will outgrow the rest of the world, and we will hit $25-30 trillion. It's going to be 30 years from now. But as we do that, the India opportunity is a 10, 20, 30-year opportunity. And when you think about solving India's energy problems, I am a believer that in the next decade, India will not import 80% of its energy. We have a path, and God willing, like with technological breakthroughs, we will be reasonably self-sufficient in energy.
I don't believe there's an AI bubble.
You don't believe that?
Not at all. I believe the greatest risk we have is if we don't invest and continue to invest, China will win. And I believe the need to rapidly expand the AI opportunities is necessary. That doesn't mean we're not going to have some bankruptcies. We'll have some failures. That's capitalism. You're going to have some big successes and big failures. But the opportunity that companies have in utilizing AI is going to be present in everything we do. I mean, even yesterday you had Anthropic announce a new model, which is going to be threatening for some businesses, but it's going to be an opportunity for other businesses. So when you think about the growth of India, it's not a quarter, it's not a day or a week, it's not a year, it's over a long horizon. And you could say maybe this is the era for India over the next 20, 25 years.
What excites you the most about India? You referenced the tariffs, and we've had a deal with the US overnight. President Trump and Prime Minister Modi have signed off on that reciprocal tariff agreement. So the overhang has lifted at least on one aspect of that relationship. How crucial a development is that, and what excites you the most about India today?
Well, let's be clear, over 20 years it had no bearing. Maybe over the next 6 months or a year, it had some significant bearing. But over time, the foundational issues of India, how it's able to leapfrog. I mean, you watch what has, over the last, I would say, since the era of the smartphone. And I think that's a pivotal point. 2012 was, I mean, think about your life before the smartphone here in India. But the beginning of the smartphone, the rollout of 5G, and how that transformed India in so many ways. When you think about how the Modi administration digitized the rupee and how it transformed commerce in India across the board, I am very worried about other countries. Even the United States is falling behind.
You can catch that entire conversation on our digital platforms. Time for a short break. Coming up next, Supreme Court pulls up the CBI Enforcement Directorate for delay in launching a probe against Anil Ambani for allegedly siphoning off 40,000 crore rupees. Details when we return. Welcome back. In a move to boost India's data center ecosystem, Finance Ministry sources have clarified the scope of the Budget 2026 tax holiday for global cloud service providers. Sources say that using Indian data centers will not expose foreign companies' global income to Indian taxation. Timsy Jaipuria is here with the details.
The Finance Ministry has issued a crucial clarification on the data center tax holiday announced in the Budget 2026. The aim is to remove tax uncertainty for global cloud service providers using Indian data centers. According to Finance Ministry sources, the exemption is meant for foreign companies providing cloud services globally, including in India, and is strictly limited to income arising from procuring data center services from India. Sources say the 4 key conditions must be met under this. First, the foreign cloud service company must be notified by the government. Second, the data center from which services are procured must be run by an Indian company. Third, the data center must be notified by the Ministry of Electronics and IT. And fourth, any cloud service provider provided to Indian users must be routed through an Indian reseller entity, which is also an Indian company. The big key takeaway here is that there is no risk of the foreign company's global income being taxed in India simply because it uses Indian data centers. This is a significant assurance for global cloud majors who have been wary of potential tax exposure. However, domestic economic activity remains fully taxable. profits earned by the Indian data center company for services provided to the global entity must be taxed in India. Similarly, profits earned by the Indian reseller from selling cloud services to Indian customers will also be taxed like any other domestic company. Sources say if the Indian data center is a related entity of the foreign cloud company, such as a cost-plus captive unit, a 15% safe harbor margin has been provided to reduce transfer pricing disputes too. Importantly, the tax treatment remains the same whether the data center is Indian-owned or a subsidiary of the global entity, ensuring a level playing field. The clarification is expected to boost confidence among global cloud players and strengthen India's push to become a global major in the data center hub, with Indian operators now able to offer services without triggering tax concerns for their international clients. The finance minister, in an exclusive interview, also had told Network 18 earlier that after the budget, she said that Indian companies with a global presence that fit the parameters will be eligible for the tax holiday.
Global companies, if they are Indian in origin, will also have to have their profits and other things understood, global profits made in India. And most of these global companies who are setting up business in India are already also paying tax. It's not as if they are not being covered by taxation for the earnings that they get from India. So if anyone who fits into this definition, not just this, you've very clearly defined it. So referring to that definition, whoever fits in will get it.
West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee appeared before the Supreme Court to make oral submissions against the special intensive revision of the electoral rolls in the state. She became the first sitting Chief Minister to do so. Banerjee raised concerns about the appointment of over 8,000 micro-observers from BJP-ruled states, alleging that they are deleting names from voter lists and superseding powers of booth-level officers. She claimed that many living people, particularly women, have been wrongly declared dead. Banerjee also questioned why West Bengal alone was being targeted, calling it an attempt to bulldoze Bengali people. The Supreme Court has issued a notice to the Election Commission on Banerjee's plea and will resume hearings on February 9th. The Supreme Court has pulled up the CBI and Enforcement Directorate for delaying a probe against Anil Ambani for allegedly siphoning off over 40,000 crore rupees. Court has ordered the ED to form a special investigation team. Ashmit Kumar joins us now with more. Ashmit, please take us through what the Apex Court said.
Well, the CBI and the ED confirming to the Apex Court that they've launched investigations into siphoning off of funds, alleged siphoning off of funds of over 40,000 crore rupees by group companies of the Anil Dhirubhai Ambani group. And to that end, also clarifying that as a part of their investigations, they've already made a few arrests and they've also attached properties north of 12,000 crore rupees. Now, all of this was in response to a PIL that had been filed by E.S. Sarma, former government bureaucrat, who had flagged as a part of this PIL that the banks had learnt about siphoning off of the funds as far back as 2020, but that the investigations were launched as recently as 2025. Now, the Supreme Court took note of this delay and frowned upon it, questioning as to why there was such a long delay for the investigating agencies to spring into action. But now that the investigations have begun, the court said that it will be monitoring and to that end has directed the ED to constitute an SIT, a special investigation team, also clarifying that this investigation needs to be fair, but at the same time needs to be swift, needs to be prompt. Not just that, the Supreme Court also adding another caveat that as a part of this ongoing investigation, the ED CBI must also probe any collusion, conspiracy by bank officers. That is also something that the CBI has brought into the fold. As far as Anil Ambani is concerned, well, CBI ED also confirming that they've issued a lookout circular against Anil Ambani to ensure that he doesn't flee the country. But to that end, his counsel Anil Ambani also clarifying that without informing the court, Anil Ambani will not be leaving the country. And finally, the Supreme Court saying that this is a matter that requires close scrutiny and to that end asking for monthly status reports to be filed by the investigating agencies.
Right, thank you Ashmit for that. Moving on, 3 minor sisters died after jumping from the 9th floor of their Ghaziabad home early Wednesday. Police have alleged that the incident occurred after their parents objected to their gaming addiction. A suicide note and an 8-page diary were found with the girls apologizing to their parents. Investigations are currently ongoing. And with that, it's a wrap on this special broadcast. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to CNBC TV18.